Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. We are from Group 1 and in here we want to present our material and the title is The Characteristic of Good Language Test. Before we start, let me introduce my member of the group. The first one is AMILA as the first speaker, the next one is ELSA as the second speaker, and the last is me, Shofie, as moderator and also the last speaker. Okay, the first material will be explained by AMILA. Time is yours.
The first material is reliability. A good test should be reliable. This means that the results of the test should be dependable. A test that is reliable will yield similar results with similar group in students took the same test on two occasions, and their results are roughly the same. Then the test will be called a reliable test. If the results are very different, then the test is not reliable. Also, a test is reliable in following cases: if two comparative groups of students score similar marks even if the test is given to them on two different days. And then a test is reliable if students are marked by different teachers, and this doesn't produce highly different marks. And finally, a test is reliable if it has been properly administered. And there are three aspects of reliability, namely equivalence, stability, and internal consistency or homogeneity. First aspect is equivalence, refers to the amount of agreement between two or more instruments that are administered at nearly the same point in time. And the second aspect is stability. It's said to occur when the same or similar score are obtained with repeated testing with the same group of respondents. In other words, the scores are consistent from one time to the next. And the last aspect is internal consistency or homogeneity. It concerns the extent to which items on the test of instrument are measuring the same thing. For example, if you are developing a test to measure organizational commitment, you should determine the reliability of each item. If the individual items are highly correlated with each other, you can be highly confident to reliability of the entire scale. According to Henning, describes a number of threads. For example, if you are developing a test to measure organizational commitment, you should determine the reliability of each item. If the individual items are highly correlated with each other, you can be highly confident to reliability of the entire scale. According to Henning, describes a number of threads to test reliability. There are some factors have been shown to introduce fluctuations in test scores and thus reduce reliability. The first one is fluctuations in the learner. A variety of changes may take place within the learner that either will introduce error or change the learner through score from test to test. Fluctuations in scoring. Subjectivity in scoring are mechanical errors in the scoring process may introduce error into scores and affect the reliability of the test results. And the last one is fluctuations in test administrations. Inconsistent administrative procedures and testing conditions may reduce test reliability. This is most common in instructions where different groups or students are tested in different locations on different days. And we have some types of reliability. There are inter-rater or inter-observer reliability. It is used to assess the degree of which different raters of observers give consistent estimate of the same phenomenon. And then retest reliability. It used to assess the consistency of the measure from one time to another. And next is parallel forms reliability, used to assess the consistency of the result of two tests constructed in the same way from same content domain. And the last one is internal consistency reliability. It used to assess the consistency of results across items within a test.
Okay, the next material will be explained by Elsa.
Next, about validity. The term validity refers to the degree to which a test measures what it says measure. Alderson, GC, and Hedges. In other words, examine what you teach, how you teach it. Types of validity. 1. Face validity. 2. Content validity. 3. Criterion reference validity. 4. Construct validity. And 5. Empirical validity. The next I will explain types of validity. First, face validity. Face validity is the appearance of validity, the extent to which a test looks like it measures what it is supposed to, but without any empirical evidence. That is, there is no scientific measures of validity, and there is no generally accepted procedure for determining that a test does not demonstrate face validity. Example: a grammar test solved that grammar, not the vocabulary. Thus, in a grammar test, the vocabulary should be easy, and vice versa. Content validity. The second and the much more important type of validity is the content validity. Content validity is the extent to which the selection of task 1 observation in a task-taking situation is representative of the larger set of text of which the test is assumed to be a sample. A test needs to have representative sample of the teaching or instructional contents and defined any concept in curriculum. Next, criterion reference validity is the extent to which a test predicts something that is considered important. The important to note that in criterion reference validity, knowing exactly what the test measure not critical so long as whatever is measured is a good predictor of criterion behavior. For example, a score on a translation test from a student is the native language into English might be a very good predictor how well a student will do in a course in an English medium university. And the next about construct validity is the relation between a test and the psychological abilities it's measured. This characteristic is called construct validity. The extent to which a test or set test yields score weight behavior in ways onward predicts the result if the research theory. What is the mind of the subject is psychological properties such as knowledge of vocabulary, knowledge of the writing system, ability, reason, variability. Construct validity. Construct validity is referred to the general of national validity. Therefore, the main focus of discussing the test validity is construct validity. In addition to some issues regarding this test content validity, according to Benjamin and Palmer. Empirical validity, published in National Journal of Scientific Education and interdisciplinary and in research. This kind of validity is related to the closeness between the score obtained for a test with other criteria outside the test is divided into two. First, comes student validity, how well the test estimates current performance on some valid measure other than the test itself. Next, predictive validity, how well the test predicts future performance.
Okay, the next material will be explained by me. Practicality. Classroom teachers are familiar with practical issues, but they need to think of how practical matters relate to testing. Practicality is the relationship between the resources that will be required in design, development, and use of the test and the resources that will be available for these activities. They illustrated that this quality is unlike the others because it focuses on how the test is conducted. Moreover, Batchman and Palmer classified that addressed research into three types: human resource, material resource, and time. Thus, on this definition, practicality can be measured by availability of the resource required to develop and conduct the test. Therefore, our judgment of the language test is whether it is practical or impractical. The next one is discrimination. All assessment is based on comparison, either between one student and another, or between a student as he is now and as he was earlier. An important feature of a good test is a capacity of discriminate among the performance of different students or the same student in different points in time. The extent of the need to discriminate will vary according to the purpose of the test. And the last one is authenticity. Dutchman defined authenticity as the appropriateness of language users' response to language as communication. The test item should be related to the target language used. Dutchman and Palmer define authenticity as the degree to which a given language test task characteristic correspond to a target language used task features. Authenticity relates a test task to the domain of generalization to which we want our score's interpretation to be generalized. It potentially affects test taker perception of the test and their performance. In conclusion, what we need in order to evaluate a student properly is to utilize an assessment tool having the features and qualities of a good test highlighted above. A test should be constructed with the goal of having students learn from their weakness. It will locate the exact area of difficulties experienced by the class or the individual student so that assistance in the form of additional practice and corrective exercise can be given. The more the test has good qualities, the accurate result a tester can draw about the tests and the right decision will be taken accordingly. Maybe that's all our presentation about the characteristic of good language test. Thank you so much for watching our presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.